Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be taking a look at a new online shop that has opened called Micro FPV.eu. The owner of the shop is named Rob and he is a friend to the channel. He is mostly interested in providing products for Micro FPV. He's not trying to compete with any of the big shops. He's just sourcing materials that aren't that easy to get hold of, and not only that, he modifies them himself and sells them on this shop. So let's take a look in the box and see what Rob has sent over. This is a new 32-channel 5.8 GHz 25mW FPV camera with a built-in left-hand polarized cloverleaf antenna. Rob makes a custom regulator and lead for it so it can be used practically on any aircraft up to 12 volts. The regulator comes in its own custom built container which is also RF shielded. You won't get any noise from using one battery. Then you have two lossy connectors which allows you to pass the power through the quadcopter and power that as well as the FPV gear. Let's take a look at the specs of the camera. It's 0.008 lux, which makes it really good in low light. It comes with a 120-degree wide-angle lens. Its range is up to 100 meters, which is fine for moderate micro flying, such as the Hubsan X4 platform, or aircraft such as the Cyma X5C or the V686. Rob also sells this with it, which is a quick locking fabric. It's similar to Velcro, but it's much neater. You can access the 32 5.8 GHz channels via dip switches. The combination on this chart shows how to select the correct channel. Including the regulator, the unit weighs 13 grams. Without the regulator, it weighs 11 grams. Let's go and plug it into a variety of different aircraft and see how it performs. This is the first aircraft that I'm going to try. It is my Picnic Quads frame with the Hubsan X4 controller board. I have got the quick lock strip here and also on the camera underneath, and that is just going to lock in place there. And we got the battery. I'm going to install that underneath here. Now I can connect this female lossy adapter to this male one from the battery and this male one here into the female one on the X4 controller board. Okay, let's go for a flight. One thing I forgot to mention in the specs is that this camera has a built-in microphone, so the DVR has recorded that audio channel, so I have included it on this video this time. Usually I remove the audio channel because it's just a bunch of hiss, but you can definitely hear the little Hubsan motors going there. So if you plan on flying out of hearing range, I suppose you could plug in some earphones into your TFT monitor or goggles, whatever you're using, and you can hear the motors going. Now that's not such of a big thing to do, but it's nice to have the option. So let's talk about the camera. First of all, I'm so impressed with this little thing. 25 milliwatts, and it is quoted as being able to go for 100 meters. I think that number is very conservative because you see these trees back here, they are at 120 meters, so it can definitely meet that quota. Also, I don't have any left-hand polarized cloverleaf antenna, so I'm just using the single dipole antenna that came with the 5.8 GHz Fat Shark module. So again, I think if I use the cloverleaf antenna, I will get even better range. But you know, it's very rare that I fly out of this little square of the field, and this camera is absolutely nailing it. You can see there we've got a very clear picture and the resolution is very good. The wide dynamic range is absolutely perfect for this sort of size and anything that I would expect from an FPV camera. I fly over to those trees again, and I usually wouldn't show a full flight. I'm not going to show a full flight of the other aircraft, but I wanted to show how reliable the picture is. We've got an extremely windy day, so I apologize for that. The little Hubsan is getting blown about really badly, and you can see here we're in autumn now. We've got lots of leaves on the ground. So yeah, I thought I'd just fly around my flying field, see if we get any interference. We'll have a little bit of multipathing, again, because I'm using a dipole antenna opposed to a cloverleaf antenna like I say, I do have one on the way. I thought I'd see if I could capture this man walking his dogs here. Usually the dogs go crazy for quadcopters, but this thing is so small they didn't even notice it. So I thought I'd go and fly over to those trees again. I could probably fly further than it. Again, this is with the stock dipole antenna, absolutely amazing. So yeah, I would really recommend this camera, not just for micro as well. You have to think, it's 25 milliwatts, that is legal in most countries, so you're within the law there as well. And not only that, you can get a decent range out of it. It's absolutely fine for micro FPV and also moderate FPV use as well. So you can see the Hubsan is really struggling in the wind. I'm going to come in for a landing and we're going to try a different aircraft to show the versatility of this camera. The next aircraft is the V686 quadcopter, and again I have got the quick locking material attached to the top there. So we've got pretty much more of the same on a different aircraft, which is good because I want to show consistency. Of course, we've got the propellers in the shot here because it's a bigger aircraft, and the wind had gotten up by this second flight, so the V686 really struggling here. But one thing the V686 does is it is really smooth on the flying, so I think that will show you how much of a windy day it is. So I figured I'd go and fly under these trees here, and I'm going to cut to a different shot here because I want to show again that even on a different frame, so this is a bigger frame, it's a thicker frame, and we've got the V686 really struggling to move forward here. That is how windy it is, but I want to show that we can get to those trees again. So again, that is the 120 meter mark. We do get there just slightly. You can see that those sort of little differences in the angle of the quadcopter, that's the wind, and you'll see here as we turn around that it's gonna just absolutely zoom back much quicker than it got there in the first place. I've got a bit of height on here as well, just to show that it can go high up with this camera. I really like this shot as well. I love these low down shots. In fact, I think the wind had calmed down just a little bit for this. So I just love those low down shots. And again, I'm going to remain low down. I'm going to fly under the tree. It's my favorite thing to do. Considering that this is a 5.8 gigahertz transmitter, it does really well penetrating through the objects there. Anyways, I'm going to do a nice landing with this, and let's see if we can add this camera to something even bigger than the V686. And finally, we have my 450 size quadcopter. And on this one, just for a little bit of extra hold, a rubber band over the top. I was really apprehensive flying this quadcopter FPV for the first time, especially with this little camera. And subscribers to the channel who have been following the high-end 450 size quadcopter build, do not worry, this is not my final FPV solution for this quadcopter. I just wanted to show how versatile this camera is, that you can literally put it on the top of anything and get great results, and that is what we have got here. For the 450 quadcopter build, I'm going to be running it through an OSD and a different FPV setup. And here I'm using my Fat Shark goggles. That is something I wouldn't usually do as well with an aircraft this size, but I thought to keep it consistent, I want to use the same DVR for all of the aircraft, so that is what I have done. But believe me, I am very conscious of this 1.2 kilogram aircraft flying around me with really dangerous props and very powerful motors, and all you can hear is the thing buzzing around your head. So I didn't fly too far away from myself, and I wasn't too comfortable with it either with the goggles, so I'll be using a TFT screen in the future. We are in stability mode here, and you'll notice we're getting a lot more interference than I got on the other quadcopters, and I think that is just down to the size of the aircraft. So the Picnic Quads aircraft is really thin, and there isn't much material there for the frequency to penetrate, and pretty much the same with the V686, although it's a little bit thicker, but it's thin plastic. And here on the DJI 450, we've got much thicker plates, and so we're getting much more interference, and that is why I am keeping it more close into myself. But I'm sure that it could go the full 100 meters. I wasn't willing to do that with this aircraft, especially how much time and effort I've put in to building it. I really don't want it to crash. So yeah, just flying around myself there. Not happy with the props on this aircraft. I'm going to replace them. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to flick it into loiter mode. And I've got my camera in my pocket. I've got a new camera for the channel. It is the Canon G7X camera, and you can see here that we can just put it in loiter mode and take a few shots of the exterior, which is really nice. So I'm trying to zoom in on the camera that we are using there. You can see it there in the middle, and in a minute I zoom in again and we get a nice shot of it there. Really happy with this camera, it's really nice. So we're back on board and back into stability mode. I'm getting a little bit more confident with it now as I've flown it around for a bit. This is literally the first time I have flown with this camera on this aircraft. So yeah, I'm getting a little bit better at flying now. One thing I'm happy to see as well is the FPV camera isn't interfering with the GPS. We've got a great stable loiter GPS hold there, so that is a great result for the future. And just doing some flying around the field here, you can hear that my voltage alarm is starting to kick in slowly, so just mindful of that. But yeah, just having a really good time. The wind is still the same as it was with the other aircraft, but of course this is much bigger. I get a bit daring and fly underneath the tree there, and the voltage alarm really starting to kick in now, so keep it in close, and I'm gonna plan for a landing. This is the first landing I've done with this aircraft with goggles and FPV, so I hope it goes well. We've got the voltage alarm on fully now. We're back on board with the Hubsan. I wanted to show how well this thing works in the dark. I'm pleased to report it works really well. You can see here we are complete pitch black at night time. All we've got is the very dim street lights illuminating everything. And if you have seen my videos before where I do a lot of night flying, and really that's all that I can do in the winter with the very limited amount of light that we have in this country, you will know that I do a lot of flying at night. So really pleased to see that this camera does this, and it's definitely on par with the FPV Hobby low lux camera. I'm really pleased with that. So let's try some distance down the street. That's a good test because this street is about 100 meters, so we're getting that range out of it again. And even behind this car here, I'm not getting any interference, so I was really surprised about that. I thought when it dropped below that car there we would completely get a blank video, but no problem at all. Really pleased with it. So let's see if we can fly around the street and have some fun. It's very late at night here, but we're picking up even colours in the street. I think that is the sign of a very good camera. And let's see if we can get a bit of height on here. See there, we've got lots of street lighting, but starting to get multipathing there. Tend to find that when the camera is right above you, that it's got to pass through the aircraft, and yeah, you'll get a bit of interference there. Let's fly down the street again. Just really nice picture. This is interesting. Very recently, a lot of houses in my street have come up for sale. Not sure what that's about, but anyway, nothing to do with me. They can move to where they like if they want to. Yeah, so the wind has completely calmed down here, which is nice. We're getting a bit more stable footage there. I definitely sticking out like a sore thumb, standing in the middle of the street at midnight, just flying around. But, you know, we don't have any cars about at that time, so it's the best time to do it. Just a bit of proximity here. We went through one lamppost and then through another human lamppost, so that's nice, isn't it? Can have a lot of fun with these micro quadcopters. That's what I really like about it, and there's no worry at all compared to the bigger aircraft. If this falls out the sky, it's no problem. It's not going to hurt anyone. And it's not going to break either, more importantly. So just going to fly to the end of the street here, and let's see if we can see any cars. And I wasn't expecting to see one, but there's actually one there. And so I don't want to look like a weirdo with this sort of UFO thing flying down the street. Hopefully it's not going to come down this street. But oh no, he actually has come down this street, and it's one of the neighbours. Thought I'd better fly down this path here so that we're safe. Anyways, let's get close to the ground. Oh, we've got the LVC kicking in there, so better land, I think. That is my review of the all-in-one 5.8 GHz FPV camera from Micro FPV.eu. Thanks to Rob for sending me this sample, and thanks so much to you as well for watching my videos. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.